In 2023, I finally met someone who I had admired for years, Dr. Bruce Lipton. If you don't know his name yet, you should, because his work could completely change the way you see yourself, your health, and your future. I know at least it kind of did for me. Dr. Bruce Lipton has been a beacon in bridging science and spirituality, opening the minds to new possibilities of human or earthling potential. I saw him speak at the Consciousness Conference in San Diego and then had the privilege of meeting him afterwards. And what I learned from him has stayed with me ever since. Dr. Lipton is a cellular biologist who challenges one of the most deeply ingrained beliefs in modern science that our genes and DNA rigidly control our belief. Instead, he presents really strong evidence that our perceptions, our beliefs, and our environments profoundly influence how our genes are expressed. Think about that for a second. Your DNA may provide a blueprint for your body, for your avatar, but it is not the architect. The signals your cells receive from your mind, your emotions, and even the world around you can literally switch genes on and off, affecting your health, your resilience, and really even the course of your life. So, if your DNA is not your destiny, then who or what is really in control of your life? And more importantly, how do we learn to navigate this hidden power to unlock our human potential? If you're ready to start seeing yourself and your potential differently, this one really helped me, so you don't want to miss it. There was an interesting case from 1957 found in the Journal of Protective Techniques describing a mysterious medical patient whom the doctors called Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright battled an advanced stage of cancer of the lymph nodes. So, unfortunately, the treatment had failed completely. So, he was going to die. His neck, his chest, his armpits, and his groin were swollen with tumors the size of oranges. His lungs were filled with fluid that had to be drained every day just to keep him breathing. He was completely bedridden in the hospital and given really only a few days left to live. Mr. Wright was someone who enjoyed reading things like medical journals. He remembered reading about a brand new miracle drug called carbamazepine, which was in the process of clinical trials. So Mr. Wright got it in his head that this drug was going to save him, and he begged his doctors to treat him with it. The doctors declined. They told him softly, like, look, hey, you're just too sick. The clinical trials were for those that had at least 3 months to live. Wright would not let up. He was insistent on getting this drug. The doctors finally agreed, really to just appease him. They took this experimental drug and they injected him with it. 3 days later, the doctors walked in to find Mr. Wright sitting up, joking with the nurses, appearing to be completely normal. His tumors had shrunk in half in just 3 days. Within 10 days of receiving this injection, Mr. Wright was completely tumor and cancer free. The doctor stated that his tumors melted away like snowballs. He was free to go home. This was very puzzling to the doctors, as another patient in the hospital was treated with the same drug for a very similar condition but showed zero improvement. Several months later, a completely cancer free Mr. Wright was flipping through his latest medical journals, which had an update on the drug carbamazepine. The update was not good. The conclusion on carbamazepine was that the drug did not work. Mr. Wright was devastated. He saw this drug as his savior. Mr. Wright fell into a deep depression, and immediately the tumors that were completely gone returned. Once again, Mr. Wright was back in the hospital dying. His doctors felt really bad for him. He seemed so broken, having fully recovered, only to have cancer come back again a few months later. Wright's doctors saw this broken man and decided to concoct a story just to bring him a sense of peace. This is totally made up. The doctors told him there was an error in these long-term trials. They told him it was discovered that the drug carbamazepine deteriorated over a period of time. It basically had like a poor shelf life that affected the quality of the drug, which caused the failure in these long term trials. The doctors then told Wright that they had a brand new ultra pure batch of the drug that they could inject him with right now if he wanted. This was all a lie. They were just saying this to make him feel better. But of course, Mr. Wright wanted this ultra pure batch, so the doctors injected him with saline water. To everyone's shock, Mr. Wright's cancer immediately disappeared again. He was completely cancer free, tumor free once again, and was sent home. Unfortunately, the doctor's cover was blown a few months later when the American Medical Association announced that a very large study was conducted on the drug Carbison that showed the drug was completely useless in the treatment of cancer. So, what do you think happened? Mr. Wright, who was completely cancer free prior to hearing this news, immediately got sick with all of his tumors returning. He was dead in 2 days. He was completely cancer free, heard about the news about Carbison, and then within 48 hours, the cancer returned rampantly and he died. This is such an interesting case because it was so extreme. Mr. Wright is a perfect example of the biology belief. I mean, this is a perfect example of it, right? What he believed literally cured him of cancer, and what he believed also caused his cancer to return, giving him cancer. We know that the drug Carbison had nothing to do with whether he was going to be cancer free or not, but his beliefs sure did. If our beliefs are this powerful, don't you think it's worth knowing what our beliefs are? I sure do. Because whether we are aware of our beliefs or not, they are shaping our Earth School curriculum every single day, quietly directing the lessons we face, what challenges we repeat, and what opportunities we're even able to see, right? Some of us are naturally more wired towards optimism. Others, like me, can sometimes, not always, but sometimes be a little bit more pessimistic. And you know what? That's okay. What matters isn't that we never have limiting beliefs or doubts. What matters is that we notice that they're there. What matters is that I notice that they're there, that we pause long enough to ask, is this belief serving me or is it holding me back? When we bring awareness to our beliefs, we reclaim the steering wheel of our biology, our health, and our lives. We begin to see that a belief isn't a fixed truth, it's a lens. And lenses can be changed. I mean, that's one thing that I've learned. They can be changed, they can be cleaned, they can be swapped out for new ones, and that can give us more clarity and like possibility and hope. Dr. Lipton's work shows us that the power of our belief isn't just psychological, it's biological. It's written into the very language of our cells. And that means every time we shift a belief, we shift our biology. I've experienced that personally. We shift our futures. I've experienced that personally. So, the question I encourage you to take with you after this episode is, what do I believe about myself, about my health, about my potential? And what would happen if I changed that belief or cleaned my lens? Have a good week.